Leon Festinger, a social psychologist from Stanford University, developed the theory of cognitive dissonance. He defined cognitive dissonance as the distressing mental state people feel when they find themselves doing things that don't fit with what they know, or having opinions that do not fit with other opinions they hold. Festinger considered that avoiding dissonance was a need, an aversive drive that influences people to be consistent in their attitudes and behaviors. The dissonance that people feel because of a logical inconsistency between two beliefs, or a belief and a behavior, motivates the person to change either the behavior or belief to alleviate this unease. Additionally, the more important the issue and the greater the discrepancy between the two conflicting cognitions, the higher the magnitude of dissonance.
Festinger found that people avoid information that's likely to increase cognitive dissonance because it goes against their current beliefs. We choose people, television shows, reading materials, etc. that support our beliefs and do not cause dissonance. A popular example of selective exposure is politics. Many people prefer to watch one specific news channel because it only supports their personal political beliefs. Republicans experience dissonance when they watch MSNBC because it is a liberal news channel which speaks against Republicans and their beliefs. This, in turn, causes cognitive dissonance. Selective exposure occurs when the Republican changes a channel to Fox, a Republican news channel, which supports Republican beliefs.
Hypothesis 2. Post-decision dissonance creates a need for reassurance. In Hypothesis 2, Festinger says that when people make an important decision in their lives, they will feel dissonance. After making this irreversible decision, people will then search for information to support their decision, to reverse this dissonance. It is also known as the morning after the night before. The more important the decision, the more dissonance is felt.
Festinger's third and final hypothesis that makes up cognitive dissonance is minimal justification. Minimal justification is trying to change the attitude or behavior of a person that results in a behavior supporting the attitude or the attitude supporting the behavior. For example, to change a behavior to an attitude, we use a new student that does not like ASU but likes to hang out with his buddies and goes to every single basketball game that season. That would later result in a more positive attitude towards the Rams. In example number 2, to change attitude to behavior, we use a student that goes to the rival school, which would be Tarleton, and understands the traditions that Tarleton has that would later result in a more positive behavior.
Revision number 1, self-consistency. Elliot Aronson, a social psychologist from the University of California, was one of Festinger's graduate students. He didn't think the logical inconsistency between two beliefs or a belief and an action was the aversive drive that causes dissonance. Rather, he posited that it was caused by a psychological inconsistency between a cognition and a person's self-concept, or how a person perceives his or herself. Essentially, people act in accordance with how they perceive themselves to be. If a person believes they are honest, they will act in an honest manner. However, if they lie, acting in opposition to this perception, this discrepancy will cause them to feel dissonance.
It is very arbitrary and may vary from person to person based largely as a result of cultural influences. Personal responsibility requires that the person know ahead of time that his or her actions will have negative consequences for someone else. How do our actions negatively impact someone else? All humans are essentially ego-driven creatures. Starting from a young age, we begin to develop an identity, a self-concept, and image. Constructed by our beliefs of how we view ourselves, most of us think of ourselves as pretty decent people. Better than average in certain areas, maybe a little worse than average in a few, but we're always trying to do our best. We believe we see the world realistically and act rationally. When we make mistakes, the gap between our questionable behavior and our sterling concept creates cognitive dissonance. We can ally this dissonance either by admitting that we made a mistake and are reevaluating our self-concept in light of it, or by justifying the behavior as not as in conflict with our self-concept after all.
Third revision. In this revision, Steele suggests that when people make decisions that go against the moral image of themselves, it causes dissonance. When feeling this dissonance, people then start to build themselves up and make sure they keep a good moral image. If someone who does not believe they are a liar tells a lie, they will begin to tell themselves the lie was justified or that they never lie, so this is acceptable. By building themselves up, dissonance then fades and the person maintains their overall self-image.
Come on, let's get this over with.
Right then, the meeting has officially come to order. Let us all say the pledge. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
Except stinking dolphins. Dolphins? Yeah, they think they're so cute. Oh, look at me, I'm a flippin' little dolphin. Let me flip for you, ain't I something?
Right then, today's meeting is step 5. Bring a fish friend. Now, do you all have your friends?
Got mine.
Hey there!
How about you, chum?
Oh, well, I seem to have misplaced my friend.
It's all right, chum. I had a feeling this will be a difficult step. You can help yourself to one of my friends.
Oh, thanks, mate. A little chum for chum, eh?
I'll start the testimonies. Hello, my name is Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
It has been 3 weeks since my last fish. On my honour, or may I be chopped up and made into soup.
You're an inspiration to all of us. Amen.
Right then, who's next?
Oh, pick me!
Yes, the little Sheila down the front.
Woo!
Come on up here.
Hi, I'm Dory.
Hello, Dory.
And, I don't think I've ever eaten a fish.
Hey, that's incredible.
Good on you, mate.
I'm glad I got that off my chest.
All right, anyone else? Hello, how about you, mate? What's your problem?
Me? I don't have a problem.
Oh, okay.
Denial.
Just start with your name.
Okay. Hello? My name is Marlin. I'm a clownfish.
Clownfish? Really?
Go on, tell us a joke.
Oh, I love jokes.
Well, I actually do know one that's pretty good. There was this mollusk, and he walks up to a sea cucumber. Normally they don't talk, sea cucumbers, but in a joke, everyone talks. So the sea mollusk says to the cucumber, Nemo!
Nemo! Nemo! I don't get it.
Well, a clownfish is not that funny.
No, he's my son.
In this clip, Bruce experiences cognitive dissonance when he tells himself that fish are friends, not food, even though this idea clearly goes against his current beliefs. You could say he uses selective exposure by living away from the fish in the wreckage of an old ship. He needs reassurance from his shark friends, seen in the support group that they have created, and he believes that by saying fish are friends, not food, over and over again, it will change from a behavior to an attitude, also known as minimal justification. In conclusion, cognitive dissonance is something we experience in relationships, teams, politics, the workplace, and various aspects of life, and is something worth learning about. Thank you so much for listening.